Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Silver the Hedgehog here, and I am Pac-Man here, and we are back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of WarioWare Get It Together for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we essentially did manage to, if we think that we're finishing up everything in story mode, well, as it turns out, it's about the fact that we did manage to able to went into Jimmy T stage by the forms of sports, and in addition to that, we also did manage to went into Remix 2.0 and managed to meet up with the forms of 5 volts. And finally, most notably, is that we did somehow manage to went into Anything Goes, starring Wario Bug. So, yeah, it seems kind of interesting to say the least. And despite the fact that we are currently missing not only one microgame on sports, but also one microgame on Anything Goes, making a grand total of 4 microgames we are currently missing on. So, thankfully though, Silver, is that we've already gone through everything on our main file, so no matter what though, we'll try to able to discuss more about it if we manage to able to proceed for this for the most part. So today, for this video, is about the fact that this is going to be, potentially speaking of, the true finale. In terms of story mode, not the entire Let's Play itself just yet, until specifically next weekend, because as far as I'm aware, for this particular video, as far as you can definitely tell, we are going into the Falls That Red Pipe. So as a result, meaning there are some more content that we're able to come across into. Like, for instance, ever since enjoying the forms have been WarioWare Inc., Minigame Mania, WarioWare Twisted, WarioWare Touched, neither WarioWare Smooth Moves, and even especially noticeable with WarioWare Gold, we got ourselves to returning tower segments. And because of that, it looks like we do need to able to get certain amount of points until we able to actually get something rewarding. So, for instance, the first tower of the 3, as you can tell, we are going into all mixed up. So because of that, basically what this does is that I'm pretty sure we're also able to replay for the exactly same microgames again, but if you couldn't tell, this time around though is about the fact that if you couldn't tell from the story continuation progression, basically we do need to find 3 more friends, which there are Red, Master Mantis, and finally Lulu. So no matter what though, we'll try to able to rescue all 3 of those remaining friends, and exponentially that'll be done, right? Well, here's the catch though, Pac-Man, is that we do need to able to take care of this mysterious thing that, as we saw, ever since on that particular The End cliffhanger. So, no matter what though, it's about the fact that we'll start able to investigate for not only with 1 tower, but presumably with 3 towers. So, just to see what really happens of what is going on. So, and it looks like we've met again with the forms of Supreme Developer right here. So, no matter what though, despite the fact that we've already taken care of the forms of those game bugs, so as a result, the entire journey is not completely come to its conclusion just yet. So, in fact, kind of thinking about it though, Pac-Man, it does kind of reminds me of a similar situation as the forms of Kingdom Hearts Recoded, where basically if you finished Hollow Bastion, specifically Part 2 variation of Hollow Bastion, where basically if you think the entire job is done, but as it turns out the game is not exactly over yet, which as a result, it does manage to force us to able to go into this unknown location known as Castle Oblivion. So, well, spoiler alert, for those who have not seen the actual cinematic cutscene variation, not only on PlayStation 3, but also on multiple platforms as well, on PS4, Nintendo Switch Cloud version, as well as the forms of PlayStation 5 for its backwards compatibility, even with Xbox One and Xbox Series X for its also backwards compatibility, and even PC version as well, being the forms of the Epic Store, if you couldn't tell. So, right from the get-go, we did somehow meet up with the forms of Red, and his ability is that he can able to drop bombs from below. So no matter what though, it also managed able to break certain blocks, and as well as that, it also caused an explosion upon impact. So, and much like the forms of how it does it for Ashley, Red can also fly anywhere. So no matter what though, he's also very useful to use. So, and it looks like we get the strong sense of feeling we need to hop into the actual elevator, and I'm pretty sure we're also able to go all the way up to level or floor 18. So, in some cases though, we must complete 18 microgames. So luckily though, for All Mixed Up, as well as the next one coming up, thankfully we do have 4 lives. Whilst whenever we get to the third tower, my god, it will be a lot more tricky and difficult. So, assuming of course if we're able to actually go for a specific combination of characters. So, in some cases we did somehow bring, not only we forced to have to use Red, but also we decided to bring not only Mike, but also Dr. Krygor, and especially noticeable with Ashley. And I think there was also the fifth one, which I couldn't probably think about on top of my head, because I didn't exactly pay attention to what's going on. So, for that matter though, oh, it's Orbulon. So, yeah, we did somehow bring the best combination of characters for All Mixed Up stage, just because no matter what though, they are really cool to use. So, anyway, a few things we want to explain for this point today is that, well, today's date of course here is the 28th of January today, in some cases in 2024 today. There's quite a few things we'd like to mention, but unfortunately though, I suppose we should probably save that particular topic up until we decided able to go into the next couple of stages ahead. But for now on though, let's discuss upon the forms of the most important aspect about the forms of today actually. Recently, Kev King 74 has finally returned back onto the forms of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. So as a result, he did somehow finally get back onto it, and so far he's now on to the forms of the second visit for the likes of Hollow Bastion, just because of no matter what though, something's going wrong in terms of the forms of Hollow Bastion, which if you probably already experienced Kingdom Hearts 2 already, by the forms of the, you know, modern platforms up to this point. So, yeah, and I'm pretty sure no matter what though, he somehow stumbled across into an unknown world in a later progression for that particular Hollow Bastion's second visit. So, but at the very least though, we are so pleased to hear that he's now finally back, and as a result, he's now feeling much better after the events of that specific flu, because it seems to be more specifically though, unfortunately though, for winter some cases though, I'm afraid to tell you is that winter is now my least favorite season. Although, the only good thing about the forms of winter for me though, or for us anyway, is to celebrate Christmas, and that's it. So, because of that, yeah, I just honestly kind of prefer summer over the likes of winter, in my opinion. I mean, sure, despite the fact that we had to do a heat wave during that specific season, but regardless of such though, yeah, that's as far as we can say about it. So, as you can tell, we've somehow completed All Mixed Up, so we've made our way to floor 18, so that means we somehow complete the stage. And I believe we're about to move on to the next tower segment, so... And exponentially, we can now able to play as Red in every single stages, so... And it looks like we've actually come across into this particular treasure chest right here. So, yeah, alongside with the forms of this mysterious thing, as we did somehow saw familiar, so... Who knows? And it looks like we stumbled across into Golden Beehive. I wonder what that could be used for. Well, I suppose no matter what though, it's about the fact that we must able to actually just to, you know, focus on the forms of rescuing the other 2 friends first. So, I believe we've only got 2 friends left, which there are Master Mantis and Lulu. So I get the strong feeling that the next one is going to be something more related to martial arts. So, at least if I'm assuming so already, so... But afterwards though, we've once again claimed 1,000 coins, so just in case we can able to spend on something, which I suppose we should probably able to save that particular topic for later. So, in some cases, let's move on to the next tower, which appears to be super hard, where I'm pretty sure everything else is in fast speed. So, no matter what though, luckily we still managed to have ourselves live system, so because of that, we're still able to hold up for about full lives, so we don't need to necessarily try to worry about getting the game over for that particular story progression. So yeah, let's just jump right in. So of course, as we expected, much like defaults of how it does it on Anything Goes stage, basically we are forced to able to play 5 different playable characters on that specific point. So, and as it turns out, we were right. As a result, we did somehow bump into Master Mantis. So, now I'm pretty sure his moveset might play out exactly like defaults of how it does it for Young Cricket. So, no matter what though, yeah, he was the, you know, Cricket's teacher after all. So, because of that, now, there's also another thing I want to mention about this while this is happening, is that potentially speaking of, is about the fact that I think fundamentally speaking of, well, I've double-checked on journey forms of the confirmed runtime for the likes of Kung Fu Panda 4 recently, although I'll explain more about it until whenever we get into the entire stage. So as you can see, he plays pretty similar to the forms of how it does it for Young Cricket, except he does have a unique ability, and that's what appears to be about the fact that, as you can see, every time whenever you do a high jump at one point, he can able to start walking on ceilings. So because of that, you know, think of like the forms of how it does it if you come across into a gravity segment in Journey forms of in Gravity Man stage in Mega Man 5, but except the fact that you're able to take control of that specific character. So anyways, I believe the goal for this stage is that we need to get all the way up to floor 10, so just to ensure that we will able to get some progressioning from there. So, and as we expected, we'll bring Master Mentors with us at all times. So, and this time we'll bring Dribble, Young Cricket, Speak for Itself, and also we'll bring Wario and Jimmy T as well. So, hopefully that should be a pretty decent combination. Well, it might be a good combination, I should say, because no matter what though, that, yeah, as you can tell, everything else is ridiculously fast. So, yeah, we need to able to try to hesitate to able to complete as many of those micro games as much as we can, assuming, of course, if you managed able to get ourselves a pretty good combination of characters. So, anyway, back into what I was saying about the forms of, you know, with Kung Fu Panda 4 earlier. As it turns out, as I did somehow found out, is that, oh, jeez, we somehow messed it up, but oh well, no big deal. Well, after I did manage able to look up on something, it seems to be more specifically that Kung Fu Panda 4 has a confirmed runtime, and that film is going to be up for about 1 hour and 34 minutes, similar to the forms of how it does it from any other films, and the second one is the longest of the franchise, or the second longest film in the franchise, the longest being by the forms of Kung Fu Panda 3. So, yeah, that's as far as I could usually expect at that point, so it looks like that's been confirmed for that particular runtime. So, either way, we somehow made it to the very end of that particular super hard tower, and because of that, we've made it to floor 10. So, although, if you decided able to go back onto the forms of those specific tower segments, obviously you can able to actually go for the insane amount of scores as you can, but we're probably not going to touch upon it. So, golden toilet paper roll treasure. Kind of an interesting treasure as far as we can able to obtain from. But I suppose it doesn't matter too much because we've got one friend left, and as a result we can able to hopefully rescue Lulu. So, if I recall correctly, it's that the next tower coming up is going to be a little bit tricky, especially considering for the fact that, again, depending on what character combinations you go for, which I suppose no matter what though, as soon as that particular tower decides to show up, and as it turns out, it was going to be the yellow tower, which pretty much leads us to Thrill Ride, where basically, in this particular tower, basically we have one life, and because of that, we have to tackle through some of those micro games in level 3 variants. So, yeah, this is what I mean about the fact that sometimes it can be tricky, again, depending on what characters you bring along with you. So, I suppose we're most able to give this one a shot, and because of that though, we need to able to complete this for the sake of progression, which is mandatory. So, anyway, so let's just go ahead and, well, jump straight into this, I guess. So, and hopefully we'll meet up with Lulu from there. So, and exponentially speaking though, we will able to actually see her inside in this cage, right there. And as it seems to be more specifically, that Lulu did somehow felt a bit more excited to see Young Cricket. Now, for those of you who don't know, even though despite the fact that we've already explained about this earlier, ever since in the last video, that Lulu was actually first appeared in WarioWare Gold. And however though, if you do manage to complete the Young Cricket stage, basically though, she obviously adores Young Cricket, as you can tell on this little description right there. So, like, she was a massive fan of him. So, maybe that, I have no words to say. Don't ever bring that up with all that. I don't know what you would call it, but either way. Anyway, her ability is that she can able to actually jump for a bit, and as a result, that she can able to do a float technique, which as a result is almost like a propeller kind of syndrome. And also, she can able to perform a ground pound if you tilt the control stick downwards, so just in case you can able to pull off a particular ground pound. So, yeah, I suppose that pretty much does it for this for the most part. So, anyway, so in terms of the objective on a specific stage, we need to go to floor 5. So, thankfully, we don't need to worry about trying to make our way to floor 10. So, we have to make our way to floor 5. So, yeah, no time to waste anyway. So, we'll force the players Lulu, and we'll bring along with Mona, and also we'll bring 5 Volts. And also we'll decide to bring Cat with us. And finally 18 volts. Sorry 9 volts, but as a result that I just don't usually play as you that much. Maybe entering at some point in the next installment, WarioWare move it at some point later down the road. So, but anyways though, as we said this before, these micro games are all level 3, and no matter what though, if you mess up once, you will essentially get a game over. So, yeah, good luck on this one, especially because there are some micro games that might give us some bit of disadvantages, like for instance for Cat right there, that as you can tell, we somehow messed this up. And since that we are first time experiencing this tower, as you can see, we got ourselves a continue system, where basically that's what coins decides to come in. So basically though, if you use the continue, you can actually continue your progression. So, even though it does manage to waste us for about 100 coins, assuming that was cost. So, either way. Oh, are you kidding me? I have to use 100 coins again! Ah, this is not looking good. Especially concerning for the fact it's been a very long while since we've actually got into that particular measuring scale kind of micro game. But hopefully for Mona, she will able to pull this off, I guess. So, and there it goes. Now we can able to progress. So, anyways though, so let's go ahead and get rid of all that stuff. As 18 volts. Oh man, we could have able to actually just try to do this flawlessly, but because one of those micro games does have a huge disadvantage for certain characters, but we'll take 2 failed attempts, but that's okay, because at this point in time, we're nearly at the end of this progression, so, at least in terms of story mode anyway, so. Where's that little strange thing again? And he drops the 3rd treasure chest, so yes, there it is. So I wonder what chest does it contains, and it contains Golden Holy Mug. Seems like a mug, except the fact that it does contain some bit of damaged conditions right there. So, and as it turns out, we received a note where basically if we managed able to combine those 3 treasures into one specific thing, although we couldn't figure this out for ourselves because we need someone to try to able to sort this out. So, I wonder what we can able to, like, call someone. Or perhaps even maybe that we can able to ask Dr. Krygor to know about the specific solution of how to able to combine those 3 treasures into one. And he's probably going to be thinking of something of who's going to able to try to do this. So, and as it turns out, he's thinking about Penny. In some cases, his granddaughter. So maybe we can probably able to expect able to call Penny to try to sort things out. So, and I think this might actually get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to likely progression onto the next stage, where I believe we are forced to play as one of those specific characters coming up. Oh, this will be interesting. So of course we're able to once again claim 1,000 coins as we expected. Well, technically we've got 200 back, and then exponentially we've got 800 fresh ones. So here we go on to Penny's Mix. So basically though, I think this is a stage where we only have to play as one of those specific playable characters, which, yeah, better late than never I suppose, when it comes to making her appearance in journey forms of this game. So, whilst unlike in WarioWare Smooth Moves, that she appears in a midway portion of story mode, and I think also applies for WarioWare Gold if you manage to get into Twist League. So, yeah, let's just jump right into this, shall we? And it looks like that Dr. Krygor is gonna give a Penny a call, so I wonder how she's up to. In some cases, let's go back onto Penny's lab. Finished at last. I'll give you Jet Tank 1. Grandpa? Hi. Yeah? Uh-huh.
Sure.
I'll be right there.
Here goes. Woohoo!
Is it just me, or is that particular contraption does kind of reminds me of Flood from Super Mario Sunshine? Well, it kind of feels a bit similar, but here we go, here we have Penny. So as a result, her ability is about the fact that she uses that particular watering contraption, or specifically the water blaster, so you can able to aim in multiple directions, like all 8 directions specifically. However though, you need able to tilt the control stick in the opposite direction, so just in case you can able to move Penny on specific spots. And also if you press the A button, basically you can activate the hover ability for her. So again, it does kind of reminds us of Flood from Super Mario Sunshine. I'm guessing that Penny did somehow manage able to enjoy watching Super Mario Sunshine gameplay footage or something. Well, I couldn't imagine that. And also, if you remember, from the likes of, let's just say, WarioWare Touched for the DS, that basically any other characters do have their own unique theme songs, including Cat and Anna's theme song in WarioWare Inc. Minigame Mania, and I think that could be also applies for Dribble and Spit stage in WarioWare Smooth Moves. Neither with the forms of WarioWare DIY for the DS version for Jimmy T does have his own vocal music. Well, in joining forms of, well, WarioWare Get Together, as you can definitely hear in the background, Penny does have her own theme song. So, yeah, it seems kind of interesting to say the least. However, this entire stage almost plays out exactly like the forms of how it does it in All Mixed Up, alongside with the forms of Super Hard and Thrill Ride tower segments, where basically once again we have to complete certain amount of micro games in order to able to progress, and it looks like this time around though we must complete 15 micro games in order to able to progress. However, if you mess up one of those micro games, I'm pretty sure the vocals has been changed, depending if you mess up on certain micro games, but I'm sure enough that we'll easily get this, so, but it does take a bit of practice to able to try to utilize with Penny sometimes, because again, some characters do have their huge advantages, whilst other times disadvantages for some of these micro games. Like here's an advantage right here, like we can able to actually give some bit of water instantly to this dog on that micro game, which I think is actually pretty swell. So yeah, no matter what though, is about the fact, oh, I guess we don't have to do anything at all again. Jeez, that happens like, I don't know, the second time this happens, but either way. And also we can just feed some water instantly rather than just tapping on the water on. So yeah, for the most part though, at this stage, as long as you were able to try to get used to with Penny's movesets, then you should be all good to go for the most part. So either way, I suppose no matter what though, there's also another thing we want to mention, is that recently, that Splatoon 3 Side Order DLC has recently confirmed the release date. And when's that's going to be releasing exactly? Well, it's about to due out at some point until next month. Specifically, the 22nd of February in 2024. So, I almost assume that's going to be releasing at some point in sometime in spring, either in March or April, but they just want to push it a bit earlier, just to ensure for the fact that we're able to actually get some other small stuff out of the way, until God knows if Nintendo decides to release or announce the first ever Nintendo Direct for 2024 to bring up some more information upon, well, as I say, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door Remaster, and even some other unknown surprises from time to time. Well, don't get your hopes up, just because it might not be huge, but regardless of such though, it might actually be, well, we'll explain more on that in a moment. So as you can see, Penny decided able to combine those 3 treasures into one, and became the golden watering can. And she fills up the water with it, with the actual water blaster, or should I say, Jet Tank 1, so, and the water is now filled into the toilet, apparently. Kind of an interesting, oh, goodness gracious me. It looks like we've stumbled across into a beanstalk. I wonder what that could be for. Yeah, it's incredible, yeah. In fact, it does remind us of something related to Jack and the Beanstalk almost. And the watering can disappeared. out of thin air. So, I guess no matter what though, Wario, he's basically upset. Because obviously he was so desperately want to keep the treasure, but story progression must go on. So, no matter what though, the rest of the crew is all here. Or is it? Well, as you can tell, since we did somehow complete the stage, well, as it turns out, we've got one more stage to go. And as a result, it might play it a little bit differently compared to the forms of how it does it on most of these stages in the game, and you'll see why as soon as we're able to jump right into this. Now, of course, just like the forms of how it does it on Anything Goes stage, you can obviously replay that particular Calling Penny cutscene if you really want able to enjoy that particular scene that... Oh, are you okay, Silver? Because it seems that you've almost felt a bit blushing. I don't know. Oh, sorry. I can't help it for myself of how adorable Penny looks in this game. Oh, you weren't able to let Blaze the cat see you have a crush on Penny. Oh, right. I must be very careful not to let Blaze the cat see this because obviously, I just can't help it. But anyway, let's just move on to the final stage in the entire game, or should we say the true final stage, and that's what appears to be Showdown. And I believe we can able to defeat this particular enemy, or this particular final boss, once and for all. And let's just see what really happens as far as we jump right into this. So I believe we're able to climb onto the beanstalk as we go along. So, yeah, there's nothing else we can able to say. Oh yeah, there's also another thing we want to mention, is that as it turns out, that despite the fact that, you know, the online functionality for the 3DS and the Wii U is almost about to be, shutting down until the 8th of April, which we've already managed able to point things out ever since in a couple of days ago. But as it turns out, one of those games in particular called, Steel Diver Sub Wars, the online play for that game decides to end way earlier, which I was not expecting that, but regardless of such though, yeah, despite the fact that we don't usually have that game, so... Alright, here we go, on to Showdown, where basically we are forced to play as everyone in order able to take down this particular monstrosity of this fight. So basically, I think we have to go through all 17 of those rounds, and I think all those characters decide to able to shuffle around. So yeah, basically we need to able to defeat certain eyeballs. So, and the more you're able to defeat certain eyeballs, then you can able to progress into the next round. However though, you need to keep an eye with the forms of the time limit, by the way, because if you don't make it in nick of time, basically you will able to get a game over. So, unless, again, if you have a first time experiencing this stage, you do have the continue system. So because of that, oh, and by the way, something's worth noting for, if you manage to go back onto the tower segments, including by the forms of any other stages in the game, basically though, the continue system does not seem to able to be active anymore. Well, assuming of course if you want to, like, continue your progressioning. So, yeah, for the most part though, it's about the fact that we have to simply just do all kinds of stuff, like fill up this entire water right here to defeat one of those eyeballs, and we have to navigate for this little maze-like for Dr. Krygor, and it looks like we need to play as Master Mantis, and we failed. That's not good, but luckily we can able to select continue, so just in case we can able to go ahead and well, spend 100 coins on that, and hopefully we should try this again, and there we go. And the more you've progressed onto the forms of this stage, is that as you can see, this particular monstrosity decides to able to got a lot of cracks on it, so... But yeah, that's as far as this particular stage is concerned. You just simply just have to... Oh, no. Okay. Oh, wait, that was close. That was, you know, definition of a close call, you know? Alright, so we are on round 15, where we have to play as Lulu to do some ground pounds to take care of those eyeballs, so... come on! Oh, that was close again. Alright, round 16. And just have to drop these spike balls into that specific little thing there. Alright, I believe we're now on round 17, where I think this is going to be the finale. So, I think this particular bird looks a bit familiar. Well, as far as I'm aware, just because of the color, and not only that, he can able to actually extend the tongue, maybe it could be something related to Pyro from the previous games. I wonder. But either way, let's go ahead and just deal with some more hits on him, and I don't think it's possible we can hit him from there, because he was all electrocuted. Alright, we should be able to finish him off, like so, as Wario, because he's the main character, of course. And that's it. That's the Showdown actually plays out to be. And as it turns out, yes, it is Pyro right here. So, yeah, I was not expecting he decided to able to join in and such, and Ninefold obviously do realize that it's Pyro, so yeah, and I think fundamentally speaking though, so far, this is technically the final playable character in the entire game. Or to be more specifically, it's the unlockable character, so yeah, that seems kind of odd to able to end off the entire game like this. Yeah, which I honestly have no idea why that Pyro decides to able to join in like this. I mean, sure it's odd, but hey, at least he can able to join in, I guess. Well, I suppose it doesn't really matter too much, because obviously we somehow finished the entire story mode, unless if you really want to go out of your way to able to do some more missions, well, best of luck I guess, especially considering for the fact that you might able to realize that, well, some missions are easy and some of them are actually very, very, very tricky to like accomplish something like this, so yeah, and it seems to be more specifically that Wario, he's basically just goes all like whining about the fact that, well, he can't have treasures anymore because we've already managed to able to realize that the day is saved thanks to the forms of Wario and his crew. But no matter what though, yeah, looks like the journey has just about to end right here. So but before we able to get on to the actual, some extras, including with the actual roll call, and also we've got the mission complete right here, as you can tell, Pyro decides to join in, and apparently we can able to take control of him, apparently. So, yeah, basically though, if you ever experienced the previous, Pyro, special games in the previous games, you know exactly how he plays out to be, except you can now able to, well, take control of him, and you can actually play as him on certain micro games. So, as you can see, if you hold down the A button, you can able to extend his tongue into, like, multitude of angles, if depending on what angles you go into, and, yeah, that's essentially how this goes. And just like the forms of how it does it for 18 volts, as well as 9 volts, basically though, there's gonna be some hooks you can able to hook onto, and you can obviously let go if you decide able to, well, continue your movements and such. So, that's basically how you can get for this point. So, and just like before, we're able to see this little roll call staff credit sequence where it shows us every single characters on screen. So, yeah, nothing else to say about this, I guess. I mean, sure, no matter what though, that's essentially how that ending plays out to be. I mean, I kind of expect there was actually going to be more to it, but I guess that was it, basically. So, yeah, as it turns out, no matter what though, like we've already noticed from this, is that obviously the entire playthrough of this is not exactly done just yet, because no matter what though, we're about to show off some extras next. So, ranging from certain micro games we are missing, and also some extra modes we can able to check out. Like, for instance, there is the Forms of Variety pack, and on top of that, there is also the online exclusive Wario Cup, which we'll try to show that off on the actual main file of ours. And most notably is the Forms of the Crew menu, and aside from that, that's as far as we can able to try to show this off, potentially speaking. I mean, sure, there might be some potential about it, but either way. But, yeah, that's as far as we can able to talk about the forms of this specific topic at this point, guys. I mean, sure, it seems, for whatever reason, Silver is still blushing about Penny again. Sorry, I just can't help it because she's so adorable, but I can't show it to Blaze because you know what she's like. But either way, that was it. The entire story mode has just concluded. And we got ourselves a nice little shot right there of every single character surrounding in the entire planet Earth. So, yeah, everything else will become to expect. And of course we get 1,000 coins again. And not only do we able to see that particular role credits again, but also we can able to actually access the staff credits, which will show off the staff credit sequence as soon as we show everything else off, just like the defaults of how it does on the previous games. And also we can able to unlock Friendless Battle in Journey forms of a variety pack, which again will show that off in Journey forms of some point. And now we can able to choose all of the crew in each and every single stages, including certain micro games as well, which then again will explain more about it if we get onto the forms of some extra stuff of how this game actually has to offer. So even though no matter what though, we can't able to select all the crew in Penny's Mix because it's only Penny's stage, and I'm pretty sure you can't play as Pyro in Journey forms of the Showdown stage just because, well, obviously that's well how essentially became for. So yeah, with that being said, folks, is that we're going to endings off this point right here. So join us next weekend for more Let's Play of WarioWare Get It Together. Is that we're about able to start to show off some extra content. For instance, 4 missing micro games. And I think we might also show off the Wario Cup. Just a brief moment of Wario Cup. Yeah, exactly. We'll see you guys until next Saturday. Later, fellas.